Shotguns in Fortnite Save the World are some of the strongest weapons in the entire game. Like, I'm not even kidding. If you're going up against a mini-boss or mist monsters in general, you don't even need a loadout. A Huskbuster or a Ground Pounder or the Long Arm Enforcer or the Double Boiler are going to do fantastic. There are a lot of great shotguns in the game. I'm going to link my best shotguns video in the description down below if you guys want to learn more about that. But I'm assuming you've already picked out a shotgun you like and you're trying to make it as strong as possible. As you can see from the gameplay on screen, shotguns are amazing. I've already said that. And if you're trying to make them as strong as you can, there are two different routes. The first is my favorite, that is totally rocking out. You will maximize the damage of your shotgun with this loadout. You will do so much damage you won't even care, but you will be a bit of a glass cannon. There's minimal healing. You'll be more focused on damage than keeping yourself alive, and that's where the second loadout comes in, Blast from the Past. It's basically just going to triple your health, and you'll be doing great damage no matter what. Shotguns are never really weak, as mentioned, but you will be doing overall less than totally rocking out. So that's basically the two parts of this video. Totally rocking out and Blast from the Past. If you have neither of these team perks, then Preemptive Strike works if that's something you want to try, or honestly, you can just pick any team perk that works for you. I'm also going to link my video on the best and worst team perks in the game if you're looking for something to use while you're trying to get Totally Rockin' Out or Blast from the Past. So, for the first part of this video, Totally Rockin' Out, Buckshot Raptor is the king. He is hugely better than Shrapnel Headhunter in the lead if you're using Totally Rockin' Out. He is substantially stronger, and he's also a collection book 100 hero. So, everybody in Save the World at some point should have this character. If you put him in the collection book, you're going to want to pull him out. Increasing the shotgun crit damage by 225% is the only thing that makes sense when you're using Totally Rockin' Out, because you're buffing your crit rating by 160. I'm going to save you the math. Basically, if you're using a crit rating perk on your shotguns, which you should be, and you have this perk active, most shotguns are going to get in the neighborhood of 70 to 80% chance to crit. That's insane. It'll also heal you a little bit. That's what I meant by minimal healing. If you look at this loadout, this is only healing from Totally Rockin' Out. You are a glass cannon, so you're going to need campfires or a healing pad, or maybe just stay out of the fight. Be careful. Just be aware of that. Then you're going to have Battle Beat. You kind of just have to have her. Breakbeat Wildcat is super useful. Eliminating 10 enemies in 9 seconds grants Rockin' Riff. Rockin' Riff is actually different from Totally Rockin' Out. This will increase your damage, melee attack speed, and that's separate from the actual team perk. So from Totally Rockin' Out being active, you're activating your damage bonus, healing, and crit rating. Melee attack speed's not really relevant here. We're just talking about shotguns, but that's there too if you want to run a melee build. That's the Ninja Loadout video. I'll link that one down below if you guys want to go that route. But that 10 enemies is not just from your shotgun, but that's from drones, your traps. If you put a bunch of traps down, you'll be activating Totally Rockin' Out passively. You definitely want Battle Beat. The only conversation really to have here is between Subwafers and Fumble. So Subwafers I have here, you just harvest metal objects, you get Subwafers. When you eat them, it'll activate Totally Rockin' Out, which means you can heal from those wafers. It's not a ton, but it is a reliable source of healing if you want that. You don't want to use traps. And you can activate Totally Rockin' Out whenever you want. I really like this when I'm showcasing shotguns in my videos because I can just activate the team perk on command. If you don't really want to be worrying about that, you don't want to be switching off your shotgun and constantly eating, Fumble is the more passive way to play. This one's great too. You're already in close proximity. You're already eliminating a bunch of enemies. Fumble footballs should be on the ground in most normal circumstances, so having them drop footballs that activate your team perk is good. The only downside of this is that you're going to have to run over the footballs, which is usually where an enemy just died, and yes, you are in close proximity, but you're sometimes encouraged to run places you don't want to. If there are acid pools or enemies around or something explosive, you might not want to be over there. So I think Mainstage Quinn and her wafers are more preferred, but Fumble's totally good too. You can honestly just go in either direction. The other hero you definitely want to have is Shrapnel Headhunter. She'll be our commander perk in the Blast from the Past section of the video, but in support, you just have to have her. It's a 17% shotgun damage bonus. You just don't really get better than that. And I'm just gonna move right along to Locked and Reloaded. So in most shotguns, you are typically reloading within every 5 seconds. And just to have a passive 15% damage bonus while you're reloading constantly, if you're using a shotgun with a magazine like the Tiger Jaw or the Room Sweeper, this might not be as active as often, but it's really only 15%. It's not a ton of damage. There are a lot of different alternatives, and I'm going to talk through a few of them right now. The first one I'm going to talk about in no particular order is Swamp Knight. He increases your damage versus mist monsters and bosses based on your missing health. That's actually a really nice bonus. It doesn't affect normal enemies, but shotguns, if you're appropriately leveled and your weapons are up to snuff, they're going to obliterate normal enemies in most circumstances. It's the mist monsters and bosses that really need the help, and he can help you there. One of my personal favorite picks is also Wukong. It's not a ridiculous amount of damage. I'm not praising him too highly here, but every 6 kills, you just get an extra explosion around them. That's kind of nice, honestly. With a shotgun, you're typically using a single target weapon. The best shotguns in the game are mostly single target. They have crowd clearing capabilities because you're firing a spread of shells, and Affliction can do a lot of extra damage, but as you're eliminating the different enemies, having that extra explosion is kind of helpful, and it's nice nice to have if you're trying to fill in the gaps of the loadout. If you're less concerned about damage, and especially if you're a newer player, Lightshow Spitfire is actually a great pick. He's available through the hero quest that everybody gets. You're basically guaranteed this hero. However, that magazine size by 30% is very deceptive because there are weapons like the Ground Pounder that have about a 7-round magazine size, which means, rounding down, Lightshow Spitfire will pretty much give you 2 bullets, maybe 3 if I'm wrong, but when you have a mag size perk on the Ground Pounder, it shows that you have 12, so to go from 12 to 14 is kind of disappointing. Lightshow Spitfire is nice to have. You might want to use him if you're just trying to fill out the loadout and you're a newer player, but just be aware of that. And then another perk that I'm only really recommending to newer players is Fleet. 12.5% movement speed is not a huge bonus. You mostly won't notice it, but if you don't have any of the other heroes I've mentioned and you're just starting the game, he's actually great to just throw in support, and running around faster is always nice, so he's nice to consider. At this point in the video, you might think I'm done suggesting support perks, but honestly, if you're running Buckshot Raptor in the lead, Warcry is also not something you want to forget, because Warcry is not always going to be active. You can't call in it whenever you want. Colonel Wildcat can help you with that with a 17% reduction, but it's also good to remember that Warcry affects your teammates, so boosting everybody on your team at the same time is really good. If you're not worried about cooldown and you just want to extend the duration, maybe against mini bosses for example, Ghoul Trooper Ramirez or Ghoul Trooper Jonesy are both really good at just extending it by 3 seconds. It's not a sexy amount of time, it's not super flashy, but 3 seconds is 3 seconds, and base solo is kind of a better version of that. He's another hero that you're basically guaranteed through quests, and it's a little complicated. It extends your duration by 0.4 seconds up to 15 times. I'll save you the math, it's 6 seconds max. That is contingent on you getting 15 eliminations. If you have traps and you're using your shotgun a lot, that shouldn't be a problem, but if you're just laying into a mini boss, for example, you're probably not getting 15 eliminations with your weapon. I don't know what your traps are doing, but the 3 seconds from Ghoul Trooper might be half that duration, but it's a lot more consistent, so these are just a lot of considerations. There are a lot of correct answers. I don't think anything I just listed is objectively better or worse than anything else specifically. It kind of depends on you, your hero availability, your play style, and exactly what you're doing. Now, this final perk I haven't talked about at all because anything I just mentioned could go in this final slot. I just want to say that right now. Chaos Agent is available for 40% of the year through dungeons. Super easy hero to get, but he's amazing and he's super worth using. Quick Fingers. When you use an ability, it reloads your weapon. That means throwing a grenade or shockwave, or my favorite combination is to drain the magazine of my shotgun, then pop the war cry, reloading instantly, and then if you're using locked and reloaded, activating that 15%, and then you're just doing tons of damage. It's a really good combination. I did the math with Chaos Agent and support. When you throw a grenade, if you're using the Ground Pounder or the Huskbuster, he effectively increases your damage output by 85%. No, you're not doing any extra damage. What you're doing is removing a 5-second reload and converting it to like a half a second reload. I think that's all the time it takes to throw a grenade. It is extremely useful. And you have 3 grenade charges plus 1 shockwave and a war cry. That is a lot of abilities to keep you in the fight. I guarantee anything that's not a mini boss is dead already. It's extremely good. Most of the time I use Chaos Agent and support, I don't even activate his ability. It's completely overkill. You just boom, kill a bunch of enemies, and this, you find 5 seconds to reload. You don't even need him half the time. But when that mini boss spawns, or if you're having trouble with a smasher, he is an invaluable ability. Like I said, you just boom, drain your mag, pop a war cry. Usually the smasher or whatever is dead by then, but if it's a mini boss, boom, throw a grenade, boom, throw a grenade. Nothing survives all of that. It needs to be like a mini boss that's tank or something. At that point, everybody on your team got the war cry bonus. The mini boss is dead. It's super strong. Chaos Agent might not look good on paper. He doesn't even add any damage, but by removing all that reload time, it's incredibly strong. So yeah, that's the totally rocking out portion of this video. Let's move on to Blast from the Past. Surprise, it's basically the same build. Yeah, every single hero I just listed is applicable. The only thing that changes are the support perks. Prehistoric Iza, super great. She keeps you alive so much that 33 armor basically reduces your damage taken by like 33%. Saurian Might just gives you a little bit of extra damage. Great hero to have. The other support perks aren't too amazing. We don't need a lot of energy as a soldier. Saurian Vigor is functionally useless at these current values. In the future, if she gives you more health or a shorter period of time, maybe we can talk about it, but 2.125% every 5 seconds takes like 4 minutes to heal you to full. That's nothing. That's disgusting. Saurian Instinct, again, healing's not too much of a big problem, because the one thing I recommend changing about this build, if you're using Blast from the Past, and I guess if you're running Totally Rockin' Out as well, is coconuts. I'm surprised I haven't mentioned coconuts yet, but coconuts are just really annoying to farm. I praised them for years. They are amazing. Everything I've said in the past is true. I've just grown older. I've got 7,000 hours in this game. Searching for coconuts is such a pain. I've gotten unlucky just 15 too many times. And it's annoying. But if you get coconuts, they heal you for a third of your health, and you get residual healing for 30 seconds, and they increase your damage by 16%, which is more than 15. I've checked twice now. It's more damage. And so that does apply to the Totally Rockin' Out build. I typically don't recommend it because, A, Totally Rockin' Out doesn't have that much health. You don't absolutely need coconuts. You can get healing from other sources. And if you're using wafers, now you've got coconuts and wafers. They only gave us one utility slot. New players, for those of you who don't know, we had 3 hotbar slots for years and years, and they added a 4th utility slot for like coconuts, cannonballs, just utility stuff. It's not normal weapons, it's just an extra. But one extra is not room for 2. So you have a very crowded hotbar. It's like half of your hotbar if you're using coconuts and wafers. I don't like to combine those. If you're a player who can do both, go have fun. I'm not telling you not to do that. I'm just saying I typically recommend this strictly for Blast in the Past, because Blast in the Past tripling your health with a shotgun hero who typically has more health than normal, you can actually pretty easily get it's 1.5 to 2 million health with a shotgun lead, a hero lead. It's a very, very bulky build, and coconuts are pretty much the only thing that's going to keep up. You're going to need 2 or 3 healing pads to get you back to full. The one thing I will recommend if you want consistency is Buckshot Raptor in support. He's about 5% better in the lead if old math serves me well. I don't know the exact figure. It doesn't matter so much. He's typically better just because critting is so nice. But if you don't want to rely on crits, you can absolutely put Shrapnel Headhunter in the lead and then lose him while you're trying to put him in support. So him in support, Shrapnel in the lead is typically recommended for Blast in the Past. Flip him, and then everything else I said for Totally Rockin' Out in the lead. Like I said, Totally Rockin' Out is my favorite nowadays. I flipped on my head. I've sort of embraced the team perk over the past 3 years. That's why I'm re-recording this video. If you didn't know, I actually had an old shotgun loadout guide that probably had a lot of similar information, but I'm older, I'm wiser, and I wanted to dial in some of these points because, yeah, if you can stay alive, if you can stay back, try to stay out of danger, the amount of damage you get from Totally Rockin' Out over Blast in the Past, with shotgun specifically, is huge. It's a tremendous amount of extra damage. I don't have an exact figure for you, I'm sorry, but it's at least, it feels like double damage, if not more, and that is worth being a little glassier in my personal opinion. So there you go. There's my overall recommendation. There you guys have it. Hopefully this made your shotguns do a lot more damage. Hopefully it cleared up some stuff. I tried to be beginner friendly in this video as well, recommending alternative team perks with that video linked down below, and I have a whole list of heroes I was able to recommend you guys today in the support perks because it's actually pretty flexible. Honestly speaking, in the Totally Rockin' Out section, Raptor in the lead plus Totally Rockin' Out, you don't even need support perks after that. You could have 3 empty slots and shred everything, but not everybody has every hero, so I try to cover my bases. Thank you guys so much for watching. These videos, these guide videos typically take a little bit more extra effort, so if you enjoy the video, feel free to subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. And then